So it's been a really long time since we've given you a market update. We thought this would be the perfect opportunity to tell you what's going on in the Sarasota area.
And we're gonna touch on if you think the market's gonna crash later in the video.
So stay tuned for that.
First things first, she's a realtor. If you're interested in buying anything in the area, information will be in the description down below. I'm her husband. I have a strong interest in real estate, but I am not a realtor. Tell us what the market is looking like in the area right now.
Houses are still going over asking, still multiple offers. The housing market is still very strong. Seller's market. There are houses that are sitting on the market a little bit longer than usual. Some houses coming back on the market, and that could be multiple factors. It could be that the buyer changed their minds. It could be that the lender didn't approve them, or that the inspection came back and the buyer changed their minds again.
Question on that then, a little more detail as far as inventory. What are we looking like for that? Is there a lot of inventory out there? I know you always talk about like there's 6 months versus a year, and you know, just kind of how many houses are out there and how long they are on the market.
Demand is pretty high still, just because we have a lot of people moving in from different parts of the country, from different parts of the world, really. So housing wise, we're still very low inventory. Houses are still going very, very fast. Within like 24 hours, we're still getting multiple offers. And houses that are staying on the market a little bit longer, typically the seller just wants it to be a little bit longer. So they'll say, we'll take offers for a week before we decide which offer we're gonna take. So even though the house is still on the market, it doesn't mean that it's not selling. It just means that the seller made the decision that they're going to hold off on it for about 7 days, 4 days, and then they're going to make their decision.
So they're trying to get that multiple bid bidding war thing going.
Exactly.
Question, do you think this is a good scenario for people? Let's say if you're moving from somewhere where like New York or somewhere where, you know, or California, where the home values are much higher for about the same house. Does it make sense, in your opinion, to make that move now if you can find a house here?
I strongly believe it does, because say you're moving from New York or California, you're selling your house at a much higher rate than in a normal market. Your house wouldn't be worth what it's worth right now. And moving to Florida, the home values here are much lower than California or New York. Even though you might think, well, I'm overpaying for that house, if you're selling, you're still getting that much more money for your house than you would in a typical market.
Right, because if you're gonna get 10% more, let's say on both the sale of your home and the purchase of the new home, that 10% is gonna be less on the smaller home. So anyone that's downsizing really too, then maybe if you're looking to retire and buy something smaller, it might make sense too.
Yes, and I mean, like, even if you're not downsizing from a different state like New York or California, even if you're not downsizing, you're still going to pay a lot less here than you would in those specific states. But if you're like in a state that maybe the housing is not as expensive like it is in those states, you could still find a home. Just, yeah, like you said, just downsize. If you're downsizing or if you're retiring, you can still find homes that are going to meet your criteria. And
then also, I guess one thing to consider too is there's no state income tax here. So if you're maybe moving from somewhere like California or New York where there's a high state income tax, that could make a big difference too. As far as like how it shakes out with interest rates being so low, do you feel like it's worth overpaying, or does it just depend on the house?
Well, either way, you're going to overpay. Lower interest means higher house price typically, and lower the house price means higher interest rate. So either way, you're paying that money, whether it be in the sales price or in the interest rate.
And any advice for people, I guess, out there like that are watching this? I'm sure a lot of people are trying to get a pulse on the market, especially in this, you know, Sarasota, Venice, Inglewood, Northport area. So we kind of talked about some of the people that maybe are downsizing. It would make sense for them, but like your average Joe in a small Midwestern town, or someone that's maybe an investor, what do you think? Does it make sense to wait? Does it make sense to buy something now? Or can you maybe break down some of who it would make sense for?
Yeah, I mean, for people that are maybe not selling and they are just purchasing their first home, maybe it does make sense to just hold off a little bit, just because we don't have a lot of inventory, so the demand is still there. People are still overpaying over the asking price. It's not just like this is the set price and we're getting offers on that, you know, price. This is the selling price, but people are overpaying paying thousands of dollars on top of the selling price.
Okay.
So if this is your first home and you can afford to hold off on it, maybe hold off on it. But with that being said, if you are renting and your landlord decides that they want to sell that house, where are you gonna go?
Right. Okay.
Because the rental inventory is also very low. It depends, I guess, on what your specific situation is.
One last question. There's a lot of rumblings, one way and the other, talking about the market's going to crash, or some people are just saying it's going to go down. What are your thoughts on that? Where do you sit, and like based on what you've seen from the people moving here?
I honestly don't think the market's going to crash here in our specific area, even the whole Gulf or Florida in general, just because people want to move to Florida. Florida is kind of like that state that everyone wants to move to because of the income tax not being there. The way of life is just a little bit better here just because you have summer year-round.
And you can be outdoors more. I think with COVID that changed a lot of people.
That changed a lot of people's minds, and a lot of people are now working from home too, so it's like you have that flexibility. You don't have to be in the Midwest if you don't want to. So yeah, I don't believe that the market's it might go down, like it might go back down to what it was. So like if houses increase about 16%, I think it might go down a little bit, maybe back down to the pricing we were seeing before COVID, but I don't think it's gonna crash.
Based on my experience, just working with, your clients and meeting some of them, I've noticed it seems like the demographic, at least in this area, is shifting a little too. Like when we first were checking out the Venice area, we got a very strong impression that was a lot of snowbirds that just came down for the winter and or retirees that live here. But definitely it feels like there's becoming a lot more families that want to move down, and just people that don't even have families but are younger. So I think that also is like, it's not people looking to come down to invest in something or just have a second home. It's people like, okay, I'm moving from here and my whole life is gonna now be down here, and that's the goal. And I think that demand will not go away.
I don't think so either, especially we're in a different world right now, and I don't see it changing back to the way it was before COVID, where everyone had to go to the office, be there 40 hours a week. Right now people are working from home. I don't see that changing because it doesn't make sense business-wise. Why would you pay for a building and for people going into that building when your employees can just simply work from home? For us, we also both work from home, and it's like an incentive of wanting to be with that company. I mean, we don't work for a company, but
it's nice.
It's nice not having to rush to the office, getting up really early in the morning, getting caught in traffic. That incentive, it's always going to be there. And I know a lot of people are actually quitting their jobs that are making them go back to the office and finding remote work. Just because people are not going to the office doesn't mean that they don't have a job. Like, it means most people are trying to get work from home jobs. If you're thinking of purchasing a home in the Sarasota area, make sure to contact me. I am a realtor. I'll have my information in the description box below.
Be sure to hit that like button. It helps us out a lot. Let us know when we're doing a good job on the videos and in the YouTube algorithm so it can help some more people. Drop a comment with any other questions you may have. Subscribe, turn on all notifications to catch the newest videos. We'll see you in the next one.